This is the story of a journey that begins on the rural edge of a Parisian suburb and culminates in an unprecedented trip across the rooftops of London's most famous landmarks.
To go from A to B, the thing that gets in the way is the buildings.
They're taking risks, you know, in our great public buildings.
I always imagine architects like that, don't they? That something unplanned happens.
Imagine living in a city where you didn't have to rely on overcrowded trains, gridlocked roads, and packed pavements. Imagine having superhero abilities, able to leap from rooftop to rooftop, as if nothing, not even buildings, could stop you. This is Parkour, the anarchic new sport of free running. Free running is a new urban sport and was created by Sébastien Foucan, born out of the childhood games of him and his friends. After starring in major ad campaigns for mega brands including Nike and Toyota, interest in the sport has gone global. But free running is more than just a heart-in-mouth spectacle put together for advertisers. It's a discipline. It's about clearing all obstacles in your path, and for its founders and those they inspire, it's about being free in towns and cities designed to contain them.
Le free run a toujours existé.
Free running has always existed. Free running has always been there. The thing is that no one gave it a name. We didn't put it in a box.
In the box.
It's really an ancient art. I think that in Neanderthal times, to hunt, to chase, or to move around, they had to practice the free run.
Pour aller pêcher ou pour se déplacer, ils étaient obligés de pratiquer le free run.
The origins of this new international movement lie in a quiet suburb of Paris called Nice, and in the after-school games of a younger Sébastien and his friends.
For us, growing up in Nice, it's a beautiful town with nature and all that, but there was nothing to do. So here is where free running began. It started here, it originated here. We were little. This was our school. We were only this high. This is where we'd be after school with our sandwiches and snacks. We'd be running around. Everyone would be running, turning, jumping.
Tourne et bouger, sauter déjà. C'était un peu jouer à cache-cache, comme tous les enfants jouent à cache-cache.
It was a bit like playing hide and seek, like all children would play hide and seek. We'd chase each other, jumping. It became our game.
Parce que forcément, on allait aussi sur l'école.
Of course, we would also go on top of the school. We would play at being ninja, superheroes. That was the way it was. It was all in our imagination. From then on, we developed. And really, the whole town was there for us, there for free running. You just have to look, you just have to think, like children. Here, children would arrive and at least one child would inevitably do this. In fact, all kids think like this. For us, this is how we still see it. This is the vision of free running.
quand on était petit, on a continué notre cheminement comme ça, les années passent.
So the years passed and our game carried on. And we progressed until we were able to face heights and jumps like this from the age of 15 or 16.
Comme ça à l'âge de 15-16 ans. Et ça c'était
This was the beginning of the big jumps.
À la base, il y avait d'abord un groupe de jeunes.
Right at the beginning, we were a group. We were very young. Then we grew up and each of us went our own way. Some stayed and continued with the discipline. Others arrived like Johann and Jérôme. Then we made a joint decision to create a group, the Yamakasi.
En fait, j'ai un copain qui connaissait justement les...
I had a friend who knew the freerunners. I wanted him to introduce them to me, and I went to see them in Lice. Well, that was the beginning of the journey.
Puis voilà, ça s'est fait l'un à l'autre.
At the start, I was surprised because I saw people who'd been doing it for a long time, and they were super good. But I recognized I couldn't really do very much. But people helped me and explained it to me. We were doing pretty much whatever we wanted to. Then after this first day, I came back every day to do it and do it and do it and do it until I knew more stuff.
The cult international success of the new sport draws hordes of budding freerunners to try out their moves on the original playground of the town's housing, parks and shops. Unsurprisingly, Lice is reluctant to take its place in history as the birthplace of free running.
Regarding this new discipline in our town, right at the beginning of my office as mayor, I was, I must say, quite surprised and worried because everyone could see young people up and down the walls like cats. I can't prevent young people from doing that. They're responsible for themselves. We can explain the risks to them, make available the equipment that they need, and if they feel like jumping, they can jump in total safety, on mattresses, and not on schools during lessons and retirement homes, frightening elderly people.
For Sébastien, free running is not just a game. They're not just kids playing around on rooftops. This is their discipline, and it's become a way of life.
The traits you display in life are the same traits you display in free running. The doubts and fears you have in everyday life are the same you find in the discipline. In everyday life, though, they can be more difficult to combat. Free running is a way of fighting one's fears and demons, and then one can reapply this to life.
What I liked about Sébastien was his intellectual way to tackle freerunning. He is the one who first described freerunning. Nobody had put into words what we were doing. He's probably the first to have tackled the philosophical side of freerunning.
Sébastien's philosophy is informed by a surprising set of modern cultural reference points, including The Matrix, Star Wars, and Bruce Lee.
For Bruce Lee, I have a great respect for the man and for his philosophy. Le concept du Jeet Kune Do.
Through his concept, the Jeet Kune Do, amongst all the established disciplines such as karate, judo, taekwondo, he appeared with a fresh, brand new concept, something that was there but had to be developed. He created something people can't contradict, his own discipline. The idea was to pick what's best from every martial art, create a brand new one, which is free.
The freerunners have proved to Lice and France what they and their discipline are capable of. Our challenge to them is to bring free running to the rooftops of some of London's most famous landmarks. The architecture of London will provide them with a stage, and it will be used for a performance unlike anything that's ever been seen before.
Hurry up. Okay, lad. I'm a cat. I'm a Black Panther.
No.
Pink Panther. Pink pig. Un panthère rose. Pink pig. Tu filmes pas, hein?
For the next 5 weeks, London will be home to Sébastien, Johann and Jérôme, and home to a spectacular demonstration of free running. While work is underway to convince some of London's greatest landmarks to open their doors and rooftops, the free runners must prepare themselves for their greatest challenge. It's time to get a feel for London.
Yeah.
I think living in big cities like London, it's a crazy life. People don't look around them. They go straight on, they go to work, then go home, then sleep, then wake up and go. It's not pleasant.
I think life in the city is too stressful as it is. We see the city as a playground.
On voit la ville comme un terrain de jeu.
It's going to be a tall order to persuade some of Britain's most famous institutions to agree to have the free runners performing, often at roof level. One place that's attracted the free runners' attention is one of the grandest buildings on the Thames. Until 3 years ago, Somerset House was government offices and closed to the public. Their reaction to our interest in their roof was not unusual.
We thought you were mad and crazy and nuts, but we were really, really intrigued and incredibly interested. These buildings do speak about tradition and splendour and luxury and times past. They're steeped in history.
But will they let the free runners perform on the roof? It's a question being asked of grand buildings all over London.
We'd love to be able to make it happen, but there's lots of things we'll have to consider first before we can say yes. We're a world-famous building, and if something were to go wrong in the filming of this, then it wouldn't be good for you or for us.
I mean, you think about a bunch of guys running around the rooftop of some of our most important monuments, like the Albert Hall, for example, is an extraordinary thing. And what I like about it is it's actually corrupting the original sort of use. It was designed quite carefully to perform a certain job, and the roof was not seen as a functional element.
For London's South Bank Centre, another location high on the free runners' wish list, this isn't the first time a new urban sport has corrupted the use of its space.
I think what's interesting about National Theatre is the way that the spaces outside it are used by skateboarders and that kind of stuff.
It's an accidental space, really, isn't it? It's created by the geometry or whatever of the buildings. It leaves a space and that people then find a use for that space. And I always imagine architects like that, don't they? That something unplanned happens.
Before any buildings will give permission for death-defying antics, the free runners have to visit each location to work out their potential moves.
It's all about experience. With practice, the eye comes to analyze. Here is a good location, here is not. Here is a location which is rich in obstacles.
Okay. You run here, and you jump here.
The more things there are to jump over, the more fantastic it is for free running. A principle of free running is that you must always go forward. There is always a path. From this point here, you can arrive at that point there. Whatever the path may be, you never go backwards.
Quel qu'en soit le chemin, mais on ne va pas en arrière. Il y a toujours un chemin. Free your mind.
Not all of London's landmarks are buildings. One of the biggest playgrounds the free runners are exploring is HMS Belfast, a battleship run by the Imperial War Museum. Each location presents different opportunities for specialist moves and a different set of risks. For Sébastien, one of the biggest is a potential jump he spotted from one of the highest points on the ship. What he's proposing is raising eyebrows on the team and even surprises his fellow freerunners. He thinks he can make the enormous jump from the top of the Admiral's Bridge down onto the gun turret, 2 stories below.
Mais pour être bien, je préfère être bien en haut, bien faire mon truc. Et tu sais, je me dis, limite, on va avoir des surprises parce que je me dis, de toute façon, on va vraiment arriver tout au fond là-bas. Be careful. It's not safe.
Every move and jump the freerunners want to perform must be carefully looked at by the team's stunt coordinator, Jason White, a veteran of blockbuster movies including Living Daylights, Aliens and Indiana Jones.
When you land, you touch and then you roll.
Yeah.
Okay. My first thoughts was that, wow, this is really quite high. It was more the height for somebody to jump and land on their feet. I thought, well, for a stuntman, it would be really something. And I really didn't know very much about these boys. So I had sort of doubts.
Jason isn't the only member of the safety team whose nerve is being tested.
When I first saw them doing one of their jumps for real, as opposed to on videotape, my heart was in my throat, I have to say. Because no matter what safety measures you put in place and how much planning goes into it, you still think this is inherently dangerous. It's still a dangerous thing to do. But you realise that the guys that are doing it are extremely competent. Physically, they're built for it. They're very light, they're very strong. They've had years of training and experience. And that gave me a lot more confidence then for the other locations that we've been to, because I realised they actually have much more competence than even a lot of gymnasts, stunt people perhaps in this country that don't specialise in this kind of work.
And then, of course, when he then leaps over the rail and jumps on the passing barge,
this is not Bond for Living Daylights. No.
The freerunners have visited over a dozen locations to choreograph their moves. While negotiations for access continue behind the scenes, they begin to physically prepare for the challenge ahead.
Practice is the most important thing in freerun. Without practice, you can't do anything.
The sport is a way of expressing oneself, a way of escaping, a way out, most importantly for people who come from urban areas. It's good, because it allows you to see many things, and I'm happy because it sets them free. A friend of mine told me one day, "Listen, I have some flying men that are extraordinary. You must come and see them." And so I met them in the outskirts of Paris about 2 years ago. And it's true, when I saw them I was a bit surprised. Just surprised at what they were doing.
People love to watch people being physical. People just can't believe that that's possible, you know, that the body can move like that or be that supple or be that strong at the same time. And it's just really, I love watching somebody move across a stage, you know, across a space and the shapes they make. I think that's fascinating.
For the free runners, the elegance of their movement is as important as the scale.
Pour moi, le plus important, c'est plus l'harmonie entre toi et l'obstacle.
The most important thing, really, is the harmony between you and the obstacle. The movement has to be elegant. That's what will make it prettier. Length and distance only add to the beauty of the move. If you manage to pass over the fence elegantly, that's beautiful. Rather than saying, I jumped the lot. What's the point of that?
Si tu arrives à les passer, je sais pas, d'une manière, je sais pas, différente, que tout le monde la passerait, je sais pas si.
Despite their extensive training regime, injuries are inevitable. Originally, London was to be conquered by 4 free runners. Johann's elder brother Stefan would have completed the quartet. Stefan is still recovering from the worst injury any of them have sustained, a torn cruciate ligament.
And it's worse when I see them.
My injury happened 1 year ago during a jump. I was very tired and I wanted to do one more jump. And during the landing and the roll, I broke my ligament, simply.
I'll be back, I promise. I'll be back.
While Stefan draws comfort from Robert Pires' successful recovery from the same injury, negotiations have been completed on a final list of famous rooftops and spaces. In total, 14 London landmarks have agreed to allow the free runners access. They include Somerset House, Trafalgar Square, the Mall, the Royal Albert Hall, HMS Belfast, the Millennium Bridge, the City of London School, Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, the Saatchi Gallery, Old County Hall, the Royal National Theatre, and the Tate Modern.
Well, I have to say, normally we say no to everything that's not got some connection with Shakespeare, but we felt that this was so exciting and so different, and so theatrical, I suppose, in the way that they're approaching it, that we had to be involved in it.
If other buildings are going to be taking part, then there's a sort of element of competition, and you know, we're quite a difficult building, so if we can say yes, I'm sure that spurs on other buildings in the city.
In a strange way, it's rather in keeping with what we do at the National, and we haven't always maintained our activities on the stages. I think it was pretty much at the far edge of what we've done in the past, but we were keen to see what you did.
The free runners will jump them in 5 segments. The details have been kept secret. There'll be no press, and there'll be no safety nets. By the end of June the 16th, 2003, Sébastien, Jérôme and Johann will have jumped London. Over a dozen locations, 3 Frenchmen, and a performance that speaks for itself.
t'es monté là-haut? J'en sais rien.
He's actually going to jump from there, yeah? Oh, he must be insane.
to me. That is the long and short of it.
Il est très bon, hein? Ouais, mais il aurait été mieux en robe.
Johann, Sébastien and Jérôme have completed their journey. London's landmarks may never look the same again. But what does the future hold for free running? After their massive physical exertion, the boys are recovering from what seems like the longest day of their lives. Some of those who witnessed their jumps and moves have been left with a lasting impression.
We've all looked down off there and it looks terrifying. But he worked out the risk, he looked, he said this is doable, I'm going to do this, and just stands up and the decision's made by that stage. I think it's amazing to watch and it's very brave, and I think it's pretty frightening jumping that sort of a distance. And you realise what they're after was the same as what I found when I started to climb, which was a certain freedom and an expression and something that was very real and very raw. And I think that's the real appeal to what they're doing. And there's that lovely quote by Blake who says that great things happen when men and mountains meet. And I think what that quote says is, it says when you take people out of the ordinary, you create something magical.
I'm always happy. It's always a joy to have made the jump. On the other hand, if I fail, well, I'm not happy.
Jérôme's fall during the making of this programme fortunately caused only minor injuries.
After the jump,
you're in a state of... You feel a surge. I don't know how to explain it. It's the happiness of creating something, achieving something, and doing it well. There is a sense of accomplishment. You succeeded in everything you planned. Once you get up, well, it feels great. I've done it, and you can see it on my face. In your mind, you're walking tall.
It remains to be seen how widely practiced free running becomes, but there are comparisons between this fledgling urban sport and others that have gone before it.
In many ways, the future of free running could be the future of skateboarding and inline skating and of extreme BMX riding. In a way, it's a very pure form of that. It's the same kind of thing, but without the equipment. So free running could be the new urban activity for young men and women, perhaps older men and women, in the city.
At the beginning, skateboard was a way to move differently in our environments. So I think skateboard and free run has that point in common.
It would be great if we could have this kind of free running park to practice and to create some new techniques, some new tricks.
The free runners have got what in the legal sense we call the competence to do this kind of activity, which means they've got the skills, they've got the experience, and they've got the training. This is virtually all they do with their time and all they do with their lives. They know how to do it, they're safe to do it. If you don't have the competence, you shouldn't be doing it. So don't.
Free running is a dangerous and extreme activity. If it is ever going to become accepted, even as a specialist sport, Sébastien and his team must look to the history of other dangerous activities, such as scuba diving, to find a way to regulate its development.
We want to make the free running as a real sport. Because it's a real sport. This is the most easy sport we can practice. It's like the running, you just need your shoes and a short and t-shirt, and that's it. That's why the vision we have for this sport is to make it safe and make it a real sport, respect environment, respect privacy, because this is a very big problem today. So we wanted to put this all together in a certification program that's that form, some instructor, and those instructors will be, in charge to deliver this message and this certification.
As well as being an exhilarating experience, the freerunners' performance in London also begs the question, what's a city for?
I think they're quite extraordinary. I think not only do you see what they do in an extraordinary way, they actually make you focus on the buildings in a strange sort of way as well. I think to see that handstand, you're just taking in a view of London which you can walk past many times a day without really taking account of.
I'm sure there's all sorts of other people waiting in the wings to come in and corrupt our spaces in all sorts of different ways that we haven't even thought of yet. We spend millions and millions of pounds on building all this stuff. And what else could that stuff be used for? That's the key question, isn't it?
Freerunning suggests that we have a choice. Do we allow the city to trap us or to liberate us?
I think something that's always interested me is people coming into London.
Well, a lot of people escape to the city, don't they? I mean, that's why we're all here. We're just attracted to this big, lively, vibrant part of the country.
Cities have always been places of escape. When they bed down, when they cease to be that, when the tram lines become too settled, when everything is too stereotyped, that's when a city starts to die. And what these free runners are doing is actually saying, in a most original, unexpected way that you could think of, you Londoners, you're in tram lines. Come and escape with us. Think afresh. It's fantastically refreshing.
Pour le futur du freerun.
In the future, I hope there will be a lot of free runners. And I also hope we'll be taken more seriously than in the past. And that everybody will understand the philosophy of free running. I hope it becomes recognized as a real discipline.